Well, good evening. Tonight, we go over how to create a workflow using text expansion. Yes, this is the month of text expansion, and this is our last session. If you are tired of remembering which order of steps you do in a workflow or recreating, retyping the information, well, tonight we'll show you and talk through how to set up a workflow to reduce the time that you invest and get some of the time to do other things with because it's about efficiency. Welcome to the Purposeful Productivity Show. I'm Florence, your host, and it's here that I, as a coach, I work with professionals, nonprofit executives, ministries, churches, and I work with them to help them streamline their productivity systems, removing friction, and getting on with the business and creating the value that they have in their purpose. And so tonight, it's all about how do we create more value using text expansion in a specific workflow. It's one thing to have great ideas, it's another to execute and move forward. Let's get right into it tonight. Tonight's title show is how to create a workflow using text expansion to be efficient. I said it earlier, it's about being efficient. So to be efficient, you got to have something to work with. We've got a few people in the building tonight with us, so I want to go ahead and recognize you all and thank you for showing up again. And I'm going to start with my mentor, Mr. Walter Strong, who is in the building with us tonight. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope and I look forward to, of course, always your feedback. The other person who's with us this evening is a fellow creator, Tech Troublemaker Roy. Thank you for being here, and thank you all, team and community, for greeting each other. That is always special to me. We have in the building our community manager and moderator, Frank Jackson. Frank, thank you for being here, serving in the background as always. And we have another key member of the team here with us this evening, and that is the emotional CEO, my friend, my brother, my designer, my keep me straight person. Joshua Ewell is here with me, and so I'm so excited to have you here serving the community in the background. So we're going to get right into the topic tonight, and we're going to talk about this, but I want to start with a definition, and that is, what is a workflow? Maybe you've heard that word, maybe you've used that word, but you've not really investigated the time, like, what does this really mean? It's just a nice sounding word. And so it's a process. I'm going to give you the short definition: a systematic series of steps that you follow to get to a specific end. A process. You know, in the old days, we talked about processes and procedures. People don't want to use those terms now. But a workflow is simply a process. But there is a longer definition of it, if you like long definitions. And that is, according to Wikipedia, it's an orchestrated and repeatable pattern of activity enabled by the systematic organization of resources into processes that transform material, provide services, or process information. You know what? That's like too many words for me. I'm going to stick with it's a process. So we're talking about creating a workflow or creating a process to execute over and over and reach a desired goal. Well, how do you do that? And we're going to talk about 4 steps, just 4 tonight, not a whole lot, doesn't take you a whole lot. The first one we're going to talk about is getting clarity, clarifying what that process or that workflow is that you have. It can be a bunch of different things. It's not a project. It's not a task. It's a series of activities. And so deciding what the thing is that you want to get a handle on so that you can set it up to be efficient is step 1. And I'm going to tonight share with you an example. I'm not going to do the screen share because I'm going to still work on my screen sharing capability or functions, but I will talk through a specific workflow, a part of one that I've created. And then the second step, so once you clarify what is the workflow and you know exactly what that is that you want to apply this to, the second step then is to make a decision. Decide that you're going to set up an automated or a text expansion process or a set of steps or snippets to execute that workflow or that process. You got to clarify what it is. Then you've got to, second step is, I know what it is now, make the decision to go ahead and put the process in place. Told you this is not going to be long tonight. The third one is then once you've done that, and a part of it is creating this next step is creating the snippets. Now, to create the snippets, you had to go through the decision-making process, and because you need to know what you're doing, you need to know how you're doing it, you need to know what information you want to use, you need to know what tools you're going to use, you need to know who you're going to send it to if it's something going out to someone. So all of those things, what, the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, and why, all apply. Then you create the snippet because you've got the answers, and I'll tell you what I did. What I do is I just take a simple Evernote page and I write it out. Sometimes I start by sketching it in a notebook. You see my notebook over here on the desk. I'll just sketch it out very quickly, and then I'll type it out in full in Evernote. Why Evernote? Because it's my central information hub, and I don't end up with information everywhere. You may use something else, but you create the snippets, and what you write out is what you're going to put in the snippet so that you don't have to keep repeating it. Once you've created your snippet, and I have snippets because depending on the workflow, you may have more than one snippet that you string together. That's the reason I said that. Then once you create them, you start using them. And this is where you'll learn, did I get everything? Did I overlook a step? Did I not like the way it's not working exactly the way I imagined it would work for me? And so this last step comes into play once you've started using your workflow. And you've heard me talk about it if you are part of the community. But really what I talk about is plan, do, review. Plan your work. Really those first steps are plan your work. Do it. Create the snippets and use them. The third part is review. And that is, once you're in this review process, you'll find out where and how you need to update your snippets. Do I need to add more? Do I need to add less? Do I need to change the order of the steps? Do I need to change the wording? Those are the kinds of things that will come to you once you start using these snippets, but it'll be faster to change them because they're already built. Very simple 4 steps to follow: clarify, make a decision, create and use, and then review. And in the review, you end up updating your snippets. So that's really what we want to talk about. So let me just kind of walk you through an example, a sample that I did, because this is an ongoing, creating how your systems work is an ongoing process. It happens over and over, and the more you do it, the more you find things that you can do this with. So, oh my goodness, I'll come back to you. Hey, Dagan, I do coaching. Some of you all may know that, but if you don't, I do productivity coaching with organizations and with individuals. And part of that is having a workflow, if you will, a process to take them through what we're doing. I have a series of emails that I send to the person I'm working with, and I have created a workflow that I follow. And I've put all of those emails in a sequence in my text expansion software, so that no matter who it is, the sequence is there, it's pre-built, and I can run through it. How did I do that? Well, I'm going to shorten this because this workflow that I'm talking about is shorter. But let's say I have a 3-session coaching client. We're going to meet together 3 times. We're going to go through a series of activities for the client to be able to get through and improve their productivity. So I already know that's my workflow. Set up these 3 coaching sessions with the client and make sure they're spaced. Let's say it's just 3 weeks, or it could be 3 months, whatever it is, but space them out. In this example, I pulled it back and I said it's going to be 3 weeks, and I have what I'm going to do. So step 1 is what I call my first touch email. That's the very first thing, and that is we know what we're doing. We've come to an agreement. I'm sending them an email that says, great having you in the program. We're going to be meeting over the next 3 sessions. These are the dates. And I put the dates in my text expansion software. What I did was, because the software I use has date math, I made it so that it would calculate session 1, a specific date. 7 days later, it could be 20 days later, whatever your time is. Session 2, put that date in. And session 3, put that date in. I don't have to calculate the dates anymore because the snippet is calculating the dates for me. I put a subject, what I want to say, and then I built 3 separate emails after this. So first touch email was my first snippet, and it had in there the dates that we're going to meet and have our touch point meetings. The second one, I created a second email, 3 to session 2, 7 days after the first one, assuming 3 weeks. Through a 3-week set of meetings. So the second one, it reminds the person, 7 days later, we're having a meeting. I pre-built the agenda. Here are the things we're going to go over for this meeting. Update on progress, any homework that the person had, anything that I need to share with them, how long the meeting is going to be, what day, what time the meeting is going to be. I've already put it in a snippet, and that's the second. Y'all see how I did this, right? So the last one is, I'm going to go back. Session 2 is 7 days after first touch email. Session 3 is 7 days after session 2. Very similar. The difference is I put in to session 3, wrap up, and their next steps. We're done. What did this do for me? I followed the process that I decided. I created the snippets. This is something you can do. Now, as I work with the client, I know exactly when those go out. I have a little secret. I actually have already pre-scheduled them. That's another topic. Pre-schedule them because the work is set, the dates are set. I'm using snippets, so it's always consistent. The dates are calculated. I don't have to remember when they are. I've automated it all the way through. What does that do for you? It saves you time. The day before, the day of, you're not trying to remember, did I tell this person? Did I miss a step? Did I get the agenda right? Did I forget to the meeting? None of that happens. Did the client forget the meeting? None of that happens because you've systematized it. You've used a way to get the data out using a tool that's quick, easy, and complete. So We've got some more folks in the building with us, and I want to say hello, hello, hello to you. I'm going to come back, and this gentleman, thank you so much for joining. Hey, Dagan, so glad to have you in the house, and thank you for saying hi to everybody and waving at me. I like the wave, so I'm going to put that up there. Thank you for waving. I'm going to wave back, and that is awesome to have you here tonight. So you guys know that I'm on this track. I wanted this month to be about using text expansion, but keeping it simple and straightforward. In order to help you, if it's something you're interested in, I've put together a beginner's guide. This is not how to use a specific software. It is what are the decision-making points that you need to utilize in order to pick a product, and then some examples, some sample use cases of how to get started using text expansion, whatever tool that you have. And I've got a few tools laid out depending on whether you're on Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and which ones that you can use, with some links to get to their website so you can test them and see how they work. I believe all of them, or nearly all of them, have trials. So if you don't like one, you can go to the other one. You can go to my Buy Me a Coffee page, which is on the screen, and get the guide. It's absolutely free. Doesn't cost you anything. So if it'll be useful to you, go grab it. So you guys know that I like for you guys to talk about your wins of the week. So let's start thinking about that. And while we're thinking about it, I'm going to share my win of the week. My win this week was that I have been working on doing some production work separate from this live stream. And I have been working on producing a webinar that's coming up in 2 weeks in May, the second week of May. And we put out the registration this Monday for it. It's a private event for something, and the team has done great. And I am so excited because we have over 100 registrants in the first 4 days that we put it out, and we've got another 2 weeks to get through before. So I'm really looking forward to it being a nice turnout and getting through that and continuing to build credibility and build skill and help folks. So that is my win. Hopefully you have a win. Everyone does, because you know what? We're good at beating ourselves up. Let's be good at celebrating our wins. Let's be good at celebrating our wins. So whatever your win of the week is, I want to share it with you. I'm looking at my stream deck here, y'all, because I can't see. So if you have a win of the week, please go ahead and drop it in chat, and I will be glad to celebrate with you. And if you have a question, drop a question in the chat, and I will be glad to answer it. I'll give you a minute to do so. As you all know, you can always connect with me at florencedonald.live, and I will respond to you there. You will see many ways to connect with me and other resources that are available. Walter, thank you so much. He says, congratulations. I'm about to put this over my face. He says, congratulations. Thank you for your warm congratulations. I appreciate it. So we've had a good time tonight. I went over this pretty quickly, and now we're going to close up by saying, what are your next steps with this information? It doesn't do you any good to listen if you don't take action. You got to take action. So your next steps are pretty simple. Step one is look at your work, your processes, and choose one. Just one, not 10, not a whole boatload, not everything you can think of. Pick one. And then once you've picked it, I'm going to come back to that. Write your template text. Write out what you want it to say, all of your steps. Just use a Google Doc, a Google Keep, Evernote, Notion, whatever tool you use, piece of paper, write it out. The third is create your snippets, and once you create them, start using them. Just go through the process, and if you need help, leave a note in the community, and somebody, myself or someone else in the community, will be glad to respond to you. You can also leave a comment. And I want to say thank you to the Live Tribe. I want to say thank you to all of the folks who are here, who are listening, and who may not be commenting. I appreciate you all, Live Tribe. And for those who in the replay crew, thank you for dropping through. Leave a message below. Leave a comment. Let me know how you're using text expansion, what workflow you used. And if there's something that you're looking for answers for, let me know so we can get your questions answered. I'm going to go back because we do have a win of the week, and I want to share this on the screen. And I love this one. Mr. Strong said he had a very productive week without being stressed. Whew, that's a great one. Without being stressed. That's the key. Productive and not being stressed. Awesome, awesome win of the week. Well, gang, that is it for tonight. Had a great time. We talked about how to create a workflow using text expansion, and I gave you an example. I look forward to knowing how you're going to use this great tool in your workflows. So, doing it right. I'll put a link here on the playlist that talks about text expansion, the 4 series of videos this month that we've gone through, so that you can have an opportunity to revisit and get used to using this very powerful and simple tool in your workflows. Good night, everybody.